For months, Russian forces have been pushing hard to break into the core of Donetsk. They've thrown everything at it. Relentless assaults, heavy casualties, and massive amounts of ammunition, all aimed at one goal: breaking through Ukraine's heavily defended fortress belt. This defensive line stretches roughly 50 kilometers, running through key areas like Sloviansk, Kostiantynivka, and Drushkivka. It's packed with reinforced bunkers, minefields, and hidden defensive positions. Russian commanders believed this time would be different, that they could finally crack this line. But just as they were getting close, Ukraine unleashed something it had been quietly preparing. In the early phase of the operation, Russian troops moved forward without realizing what was coming. They advanced along two main directions. Near Sloviansk, units from the 3rd Combined Arms Army, including the 85th and 123rd Motorized Brigades, sent around 4,000 to 5,000 soldiers in small infiltration groups toward Ukrainian positions near Kostiantynivka and Drushkivka. At the same time, other forces, including Chechen Akhmat units and the 136th Brigade, pushed forward using light vehicles, motorcycles, and stealth tactics to pressure Ukrainian defenses. On the Ukrainian side, preparations were already underway. The 11th Army Corps, under Lieutenant Colonel Dmytro Zaporizets, was ready. Despite being outnumbered, Ukraine had one major advantage: the terrain. Open lowlands, forests, and elevated positions all favored defenders. Russian troops had already changed tactics to adapt. Instead of large armored convoys, they sent soldiers in smaller groups, using GPS and paper maps. They used camouflage and heat masking gear for night operations. Their plan was simple: attack in waves, pause, then strike again to wear down Ukrainian defenses. But Ukraine struck first. On April 30th, everything shifted. Near Sloviansk, northeast of Lyman and south of Kadiivka, Ukrainian forces launched a sudden counterattack. What looked like open terrain quickly turned into a deadly trap. Ukrainian drones and artillery systematically tore apart the advancing Russian groups. At the same time, another udar came in the Kostiantynivka-Drushkivka sector. Ukrainian troops pushed forward quickly, reclaiming positions that Russian sources had claimed to control just a day earlier. Russian soldiers who had advanced in small groups suddenly found themselves surrounded. Confusion turned into panic. Some retreated step by step. Others ran without even looking back. The battlefield was left scattered with abandoned equipment and wounded soldiers. But Ukraine didn't stop there. They pushed forward, turning defense into counteroffense and beginning to reclaim nearby villages. The defensive line held strong and even expanded. This wasn't just a small victory. It marked one of the first major setbacks for Russia's spring offensive. What's striking is that despite this, Russian leadership still believes they can continue operations for another year or more. But the reality on the ground tells a different story. In April, Russian forces actually captured 12% less territory than in March, even though they increased the number of attacks. In simple terms, more attacks, less progress. In the Donetsk region, which remains their main focus, advances have slowed dramatically. On average, Russian forces now need about 36 separate assaults just to gain 1 square kilometer. Meanwhile, Ukraine is gaining ground. Since the start of 2026, Ukrainian forces have reclaimed hundreds of square kilometers, shifting the balance slowly in their favor. A big part of this shift comes from Ukraine's growing advantage in drone warfare. At the same time, Russia is facing a serious manpower problem. Casualties continue to rise, especially among troops from poorer regions. Reports suggest thousands of losses every month, with some estimates putting daily casualties extremely high. Recruitment is struggling to keep up. Russia is offering large financial bonuses to attract soldiers, but even that isn't enough. Many new recruits are undertrained, and some are sent to the front after only a few weeks of preparation. This lack of training is visible on the battlefield. Instead of coordinated assaults, troops are often sent forward in small, uncoordinated groups. Equipment shortages are also becoming a problem. Older Soviet-era vehicles are being reused, but they're highly vulnerable to modern drone attacks. In some cases, soldiers are even using motorcycles or light vehicles instead of armored units. Another critical issue is communication. Modern warfare relies heavily on real-time coordination, especially through satellite systems. Russia had been relying on systems like Starlink, but access has become limited. Recent restrictions and technical issues have disrupted communications, making coordination much harder. Without stable communication, drone operations, artillery targeting, and troop coordination all suffer. Ukraine, on the other hand, is improving its communication systems, including fiber optic networks and reliable satellite access. This gives them a major advantage on the battlefield. When you look at the bigger picture, it's clear that Russia is hitting serious limits. They're attacking more, but gaining less. Losses are high, resources are stretched, coordination is weakening. Meanwhile, Ukraine is adapting, using drones, flexible tactics, and strong defensive planning to hold and even push back. What happened near Sloviansk and Kostiantynivka isn't just a local success, it's a sign of a larger shift. The war is no longer about massive tank offensives. It's about precision, technology, and small, coordinated units. And in this new kind of warfare, Ukraine's advantage is growing. So the question now is, how long can this continue, and what comes next? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you want more detailed breakdowns like this, don't forget to subscribe and stay updated.